tradition unlike any other. That's right, Baltimore Ravens fans. It's time for the annual pre draft Liars Luncheon. That's right, the pre draft, also known as the Liars Luncheon press conference, took place today, April 5th, 2022. And I'm the host with the Moist God's favorite host, BKD, here for the Flex Zone podcast, ready to break it down for you, read what was said, and give you my reaction and analysis. Hit that thumbs up, like the video, comment down below, and most importantly, subscribe and hit that bell for all notifications as we get ready to break down what happened today at the Liars Luncheon. What is going on, Flex Zone family? It's God's favorite host back again, the host with the Moist, America's Most Wanted Podcast, the Flex Zone Podcast, back again with another video, talking to you today about the Baltimore Ravens pre-draft Liars Luncheon from one winning drive. If you're new to the channel, hit that thumbs up, subscribe down below, hit that bell for notifications, comment down below, let me know what you think of the annual pre-draft Liars Luncheon. We call it the Liars Luncheon here on the Flex Zone Podcast because the Baltimore Ravens are notorious for not divulging much information and lying to you blatantly in your face. Lie, deny, make you think that everything's all right, knowing they have a whole lot of work to do to not only get to a Super Bowl, but to compete in their own division, the AFC North and the entire AFC Conference as a whole. So let's break down what was said by GM Eric Decosta, head coach John Harbaugh, as well as Joel Ortiz, head of scouting for the Baltimore Ravens. As you know, this is a yearly occurrence where they get together, they speak. We heard from Steve Bisciotti last week. We get these guys speaking again. And the Ravens come into this draft 3 weeks away with a good amount of draft capital, especially in the first 4 rounds. And we know the Ravens love accumulating those picks. We know we love those mid-round picks and those diamond in the rough type players from smaller schools in those rounds. So let's see what Eric DeCosta can do because this is the most important draft in Eric DeCosta's tenure to help solidify the future of the Baltimore Ravens. So let's take a look at what was said. And Eric DeCosta was quoted as saying, this is courtesy of our good friend Jeff Zreback at The Athletic. We feel very good about where we're situated right now with 9 picks in the first 4 rounds. Basically, just what I said, 9 picks in the first 4 rounds. A first round pick, a second round pick, a third round pick, and what, 5/4 they own the fourth round. So they have a potential to add a lot of cheap, affordable labor that can come in and hopefully produce in year one and contribute and be starters on this team. I think their first round pick is going to be of the utmost importance at 14. Do they decide to trade back and accumulate even more picks? I actually would not be opposed to that personally because there will be teams probably looking to jump up around the 14 range because they won't have to give up as much. But if a player slides, a quarterback that they like, one of these offensive linemen that they like, or one of these defensive playmakers that they like, or one of these wide receivers, which has a lot of depth as well in this 2022 NFL draft. Ravens could trade back 3 or 4 spots, 5 or 6 spots, and still take maybe at the end of the first round a David Ojabo, who I like a lot, or a offensive lineman like a Trevor Penning who could fall as well and accumulate another second or third round pick or fourth round pick. So we'll see what Eric DeCosta does as he wills and deals. I don't really see us trading up though. Eric DeCosta also said, we're not sure how Ronnie Stanley is going to rebound. So he's speaking on the injured Ronnie Stanley, left tackle, who is getting paid pretty handsomely. We're optimistic. We feel like he's on a good pace to come back. So there will be opportunities to draft a tackle and said it's a very good class. It is a good class for tackles, in my opinion. You got Evan Neal, Ikwem Aquanu. You got Trevor Penning, Charles Cross, Tyler Lindenbaum. If you want to go inside, you got a couple good options in offensive linemen. You could have potentially four offensive linemen in the first 10 picks, 15 picks with some of the guys that could be drafted. So I think if Ronnie Stanley isn't going to be 100%, which could be a reality, they may need to address offensive line early in this draft as it's one of their major needs along with edge rusher. I say that to say the Ravens, they need help along the offensive line. We know that. And hopefully Ronnie Stanley could come back. Hopefully Juwan Jameson give us something to sign on Morgan Moses, but you can never be too short, and tackle has to be a priority for this team. Decosta also acknowledged that the team is very concerned about its cornerback depth. Hey, the Ravens need a corner. I think outside of edge rusher and offensive line tackle, I think corner is probably third on the list of their needs. Outside of Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, lost Anthony Averett. You lost Chris Westry as of yesterday. And who else do you really have? Tavon Young, he gone. Don't have anybody. You don't have depth. And you need at least 3 to 4 decent corners to be successful in this league. So we'll see what happens. Could a Sauce Gardner come to Baltimore? Could a Derek Stingley come to Baltimore as well? I don't think they'll draft a corner in the first round, but definitely in some of those fourth round picks that they have, third, fourth round picks, I think they could definitely look at corner. And there's some guys that could fall with the ability of the draft being deep, as DeCosta will later say. On edge rushers, which I think is their number one priority, should be their number one priority. Would still like to see them maybe sign one, but typically those guys go fast. Predicted that there will be a run on pass rushers in the top 10. It will be, and there are some good pass rushers. Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau. You have Jermaine Johnson, Jordan Davis. You have a good amount of guys who could be taken as pass rushers in the top 10 with teams who need to not only protect the quarterback, but get after the quarterback, especially in the AFC. DeCosta said that the center position is traditionally a tough one to fill in the draft, but the team sees 4 or 5 guys outside the first round that have NFL futures. So what that says to me when it comes to the center position, as I said, we do need a center as well. Eric DeCosta isn't thinking of taking Tyler Lindenbaum at 14, and he is probably not looking at center as one of his top 3 needs and priorities. It's probably 4 or 5 on his list. Probably 5 if you ask me. Edge rusher, offensive tackle, corner, inside linebacker, as well as 5 would probably be center. And then maybe that could be tied with backup tight end. But I would like to see what happens if a guy like Linderbaum does fall in the Ravens' lap. They could just trade back, though. Now, let's take a look at what he said on running backs as J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards are still recovering. Not exactly 100%, but still recovering. DeCosta said he doesn't see any first round running backs. Personally, I don't either. So I agree with you there, Mr. EDC. But he didn't rule taking one, day 2, or day 3. If the right guys falls, we will certainly strike. One thing I've learned, and Mel Kiper says it all the time, don't take a running back in the first round. You look at guys like Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, Christian McCaffrey, he's been banged up as of late. So it's kind of tough taking running backs in the first round. But you look in the second, third round, getting J.K. Dobbins in the second round, the Ravens, for example, or fourth round, fifth round, sixth round. The Ravens have done it before. Kenneth Dixon, guys like that. Justice Hill was hurt last year too. Let's see if he comes back and make an impact, especially on special teams and maybe being a third down running back or slot receiver in hopefully an innovative, more unpredictable Greg Roman offense.
So hopefully that we'll see what plays out with the running backs during the upcoming NFL draft. Continuing on with the Lions Luncheon here on the Flex Zone podcast video. After talking about the running backs, he said there will be more outside signings regarding free agency, but the draft moves to the forefront. What that means basically is they ain't signing nobody until after the draft if they do sign anybody. And what that means is it's going to be after the June 1st comp pick consequences. So if you sign somebody, it counts against your comp picks. So they're going to sign them after that, or people who may get cut during OTAs and mini camps and maybe in training camp. So don't expect any big name trades or free agency signings until after the draft, at least, depending on what the Ravens still need on their roster. After that, he talked about my mindset with all the fourth round picks is that every guy we draft in the fourth round this year better be playing for us. Hey, it's an inexact science. You better hope those fourth round guys are as good as you think they are, because if you want them all to be playing, that's what, five guys? That's five players coming in playing for you every game, every day. I would love to see that. That means he's having a hell of a draft if that's the case. But hey, I'm gonna be positive. When it comes to the defensive line, Eric Decosta acknowledges the team has a lot of work to do at outside linebacker and interior defensive line. We are not done yet. Could that mean a reunion with Calais Campbell? I don't know. Could that mean they take a defensive lineman in the first round? Not sure who will be on the board, but there are a lot of options in day two and day three. And edge rusher, as I said, outside linebacker, DN is probably my number one need if I'm going into the draft is the Baltimore Ravens and Eric Decosta. Decosta and Joe Ortiz joked about how we should be talking up the quarterbacks more, so more of them go before 14. Ortiz said there are starting quarterbacks in this class and feels like the current quarterback class is being underestimated. They just want a couple smoke screens so a really good player can fall to them, or somebody can trade up and then give more comp picks and more compensation and more picks in the draft and in future drafts. Joe Ortiz said they probably have more players on the board than they've had in recent drafts. Wow, they're really talking up and putting over this draft class, having it at so deep in every round and every position. So DaCosta then followed by saying they have about 100 players on that board, so that number could still grow a bit. Interesting. Probably will. I mean, when you go into a draft with 10 picks in the first 4 rounds, I'm sure you're going to have 100 plus, maybe 200 guys, if not more than that, on your board as you can potentially draft and say, hey, if I draft this guy in this round, will they be able to come in and make an impact on my team? And what is the value of that pick, or what is the need of best player available versus position of need, and vice versa? Then lastly, DaCosta said there are a lot of free agents out there that the team likes, but this caveat was the cap. His caveat was the cap and has created challenges and they have to be disciplined. Pretty much meaning break out the coupon book, break out the burger bucks, break out the Chick-fil-A coupons. They ain't spending no money right now. They're gonna pull out the coupon book from Mr. Bashotti and they're gonna spend very, very frugally, if any, after the draft. But that was my recap of the Baltimore Ravens pre-draft Liars Luncheon here on the Flex Zone podcast. Let me know your thoughts on the overall things that Eric DeCosta, Joe Ortiz, and Coach Harbaugh said. Coach Harbaugh said he's excited to be here, happy to be a Raven coach, happy he signed an extension. He's elated, he's excited, he's continuing to work. He's ready to get to work with the players with mini camps and OTAs coming up soon with the draft. Let me know the quotes of things that Eric DeCosta and them said. If you like something you heard in this video, if you didn't, hit that thumbs up, hit that bell for all notifications, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the pre-draft Liars Luncheon here on the Flex Zone podcast. And most importantly, subscribe. The only place giving you your sports how you want it, when you need it. We the ones. Throw your ones up and acknowledge the hit of this sports podcast table. I'm the host of the Moist, God's favorite host, Byron Dixon, signing out for the Flex Zone podcast. And until next time, y'all, I'm gone. Peace.